Here's this thing about Charlotte Proudman, or maybe that should be Charlotte Proudwoman.
Or proud person, to be inclusive and politically correct, as is very important, obviously.
Yeah.
And on the website LinkedIn, a message sent 9:16am from an Alexander Carter Silk, who wrote, "Charlotte delighted to connect. I appreciate that this is probably horrendously politically incorrect, but that is a stunning picture. You definitely win the prize for the best LinkedIn picture I've ever seen. Always interest, probably should have been interested, to understand, he put, his biggest crime are his typos, really, but people's skills and how we might work together, Alex," to which she replied later the same day, by the looks of it, some 8 hours and 42 minutes later. I'm amazed she could hold her breath that long. "Alex, I find your message offensive. I am on LinkedIn for business purposes, not to be approached about my physical appearance or to be objectified by sexist men. The eroticisation of women's physical appearance is a way of exercising power over women. It silences women's professional attributes," it's not silenced her evidently, "as their physical appearance becomes the subject. Unacceptable and misogynist behaviour. Think twice before sending another woman, in brackets half your age, as if that's relevant, such a sexist message. Charlotte."
Well, she is actually being ageist there, where she says half your age.
Yeah, it's interesting, as if to say that somehow her response is in any way conditional on the age of a person sending it. Dare I say, if he had been half his age and better looking, she wouldn't have construed it in such a manner, and it would all have been that much better. If I got a message such as that, then I would be delighted, as most men would be, really, and of course we wouldn't have even heard about it had the gender's been reversed.
No, obviously, if a man got that message and he complained about it,
he'd probably be called like a puff.
Everyone would just
what the hell are you complaining about?
Everyone would just be calling him a twat, basically.
And as long as society and feminists are going to have that double standard, whereby it would never work the other way, if the genders were reversed, then the whole thing does lose a certain credibility. And looking through the message, I see two buzz terms, which are always used predictably, reliably, those being sexist and misogynistic. Yes, let's actually consider the meaning of these words, not as they tend to be used, just the actual dictionary meanings, dare I say. Surely sexism generally, to be sexist, would be actually of the belief that men are superior to women. And I'm actually looking through this, and I see no implication that men are actually superior to women. You could say, he wouldn't have said that to some man, but that will simply be because he's heterosexual, I presume.
He's giving her praise.
Yeah, he's giving her praise, and there isn't that basis for comparison, because by default, if he's heterosexual, it's going to be a woman he's going to say this sort of thing to. In that respect, in a sense, the gender could be incidental. It's not actually, in no way is he actually implying that men are superior to women. Even treating men and women differently in certain contexts needn't be fueled by sexism. It can be fueled simply by heterosexuality.
It's just the whole reaction to it. Even if she is upset by it, getting a compliment, I don't know why you would be upset with a compliment, but the fact that she felt the need to try and shame him on the internet.
The term also even more predictably used, that buzzword of the times, courtesy of feminism, misogynistic, and generally this term implies hatred, the hatred of women. Now I'm really racking my brains to see where on earth he's expressed an ounce of hatred whatsoever.
That really seems like a lot of hatred to me. You definitely win the prize for the best LinkedIn picture I've ever seen. Wow, he really hates her, doesn't he?
Yeah, he not only hates her, but he hates 50% of the population, obviously, just because he commented on one woman's good looks, as he perceives them to be. Misogynistic. It's even more unthinkable if you reverse the genders. Not only would a woman who had sent such a message not be condemned or outed in such a way, definitely, even more so, the term misandric, which a lot of people don't know, being the hatred of men as opposed to misogynistic, the hatred of women, that simply it would just never, ever, it wouldn't even cross anyone's mind, even if someone did wish to kind of have a bit of parity and say, well, okay, sex is this way. To think that would ever, in a way, be perceived, implied to be hatred of men is just unthinkable. The sheer double standard at work here. I mean, as I say, a misogynist is someone who hates women. It's not somebody who just makes a comment on a woman's appearance, positive or negative. I mean, if anything, it's quite positive about women, about femininity. It's almost like there's more of a case for saying it's an admiration.
It seems like he's being
of
like a gentleman as well, in a way. Like, oh, this message, this probably horrendously politically incorrect message, like, he even starts with that. He's like polite all the way through. It's not as if he's like sent a really lustful, perverted message.
Not too lewd or... it's not like he said, I'd like to bed you, I'd like to put up a naked picture, will you?
He's not exactly...
It wasn't overtly sexual, not perverse.
It's not as if he's attached a picture of his cock or anything, is it?
Storms in teacups indeed, but, misogynistic behaviour.
Storms in teacups.
These, the words such as those which get devalued ultimately almost when they're applied, so freely, bandied about to a ridiculous extent. And, looking through, she also uses a bit of a lingo and starts going off on it's a way of exercising power over women. I mean, how are you exactly exercising power over a woman just by giving her a compliment? I'm not quite, it may be she uses fancy words, she's fairly articulate, but that probably masks the fact that underneath, like a lot of feminist argument, they don't actually have...
She is an actual barrister.
...on a basis.
Unbelievably.
Well, yeah.
She represents people.
She's that court. Irrational. I mean, I fear for the legal system, I feel for the country. If this is a response to such an innocuous comment such as this. Exercising power over women. I mean, what power did he... I mean, if anything, the only power that was exerted was because she chose to actually bitch about it and try and out him, and hopefully it's more her career that's ruined.
First world problems spring to mind.
Well, yeah, it can be put in perspective by many things, but yeah,